To set up attendance in Canvas, you go to Settings, Navigation, and it's called Roll Call Attendance, or just simply Attendance, and you enable it. Once you've done that, you can move it around if you want. Doesn't really matter since the students aren't really going to see it anyway. Go ahead and hit Save, and now you see attendance here on the left. The first time you take attendance is when it's going to show up in your assignments. So here, if I take a look at assignments, I have not taken attendance yet, so you will not see attendance showing up in this at all. What you can do before the semester begins is you simply take attendance, mark all as present, change the date, and now if I go back to assignments, you see roll call attendance has shown up here for 100 points. Now, let's say you want to change it and not be 100 points. The best way to do that is to go here under the three dots and edit it. Before I do that, I want to show you in grades what this looks like. So I have attendance. Notice it's 100% for everybody at 100 points. If I go back to this roll call attendance and I change this to be, let's say, 10 points, so edit, 10 points, and save it. Now, if I immediately go back into grades, you'll notice that now everybody has 1,000% because it basically gave them 100 points on that. What I can do is I can now go back into attendance and take attendance again. So you need to take attendance again once you have done that. So I'm taking attendance on the next day. These are all noticed before the class starts. Remember, this is a class that starts in January. So I can now go into the gradebook, scroll over, and you see attendance is out of 100 now. What I'm going to do is go back into attendance and show you how attendance works. So if I go back and I look, notice that I've got 2 days worth of attendance in here. If I take and I select one of the people and say this person was not there, okay, they've got an X. This other person, I'm not going to count, positive nor negative. That's what this one means. Notice this one says I can click to toggle attendance, but that means that they were not there. Now, I always like to switch. So you see that every one of them has at least one day that they have attended. If I go back to grades and I scroll over, notice this first person who attended twice, they have 100%. The second person who was absent once and attended the second time, they're at 50%. They've attended half of the classes. This third person who didn't attend the first class, but was marked as basically excused for the first class, they still have 100% because they didn't have to show up for that class. They were excused. So going back to roll call attendance, and I can click on that to get back to it, I can now go back and show you on this third person, there's another option, and that is late. These, by the way, come up with this roll call settings, and you can determine what lateness means. That it's an 80%, 75%. What does this mean to be late? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it at 70%. So for that particular day, they got 70% of the attendance amount. Again, I like to change the date just to make sure that everything went through. Go back to grades, and I slide over and I look, and now you see that this first person has 100%. They attended both classes. This second person has 50%. They attended one class but were absent from the other. This third person had attended one class, but they were late for the other one at a 70% of the other class. So that's where they get an 85% right now. As you proceed through, the calculations will continue based on each day. So this 10 points is the total for the semester. And what it does is it takes the number of dates that you calculate for each student and gives that 10 points across all of those dates. So if you take attendance twice in a semester, then they miss one time, they're going to get 50%. If you take attendance 100 times in a semester and they miss one time, they're going to get 9.9 points, or 99%. So it's all dependent. It's really the percentage of 10 that they're going to get. So right now, this person has 100% of it, 50%, 85%. And if we go over here to the points and look at it, you see that 13.5, so 5 plus 8.5 points. This is 14 out of 20, and this is 17 out of 20. And if I look here, it doesn't give me the option of seeing the numbers because it's going to be a percent. After you've made all the changes, especially if it's before the semester begins, you go back into roll call attendance, whether on the left by clicking attendance or by clicking on that. And what I like to do is unmark all of them. Okay, now they're not marked at all. Notice it's exactly what it would look like for there. And now if I go back to grades and I scroll over, roll call attendance is marked as this, and basically it's saying something needs to happen in order for it to start recording a score. So that is how you use roll call attendance or attendance in Canvas.